We are live here, and not many people here, just getting a spontaneous live stream going. This is July 14th, 2024, and it's pretty obvious why we're doing this stream. Absolute bombshell story. Yesterday, still trying to process everything. Everything is still fluid. News is always going to be trickling in, but we've had maybe the biggest story in a long time. It's going to be up for debate, but we had the still trying to process everything. Everything is still fluid. News is always going to be trickling in. 1 second. But we've had maybe the biggest story in a long time. All right, sorry about that. So Trump, assassination attempt, shooting at his rally yesterday in Pennsylvania. Everybody's talking about this thing. That's you thought the debate fallout was happening. That was a big story, and that Biden might drop out. Well, that story's going on the back burner. So yeah, we've got some people showing up here. Good morning. An absolutely spontaneous stream. It's probably not going to be many hours, but I had to squeeze something in. This is kind of one of these significant events in U.S. history or your own life. I don't want to completely oversell it, but this is certainly a big deal. And I've been busy trying to make make some content and follow what's happening. So there's a lot out there that I haven't really been able to follow yet, but I figured I'd get a stream going and just see what the mood is like with the fan base, the subscribers, anybody that wants to stop by. Um, yeah, it hasn't even it's not even 1 day has gone by. So if you watched, I put out a video today already covering this. If you haven't watched that, take a look at it. And I do want to let the dust settle. I want to get things figured out. I know there's going to be all kinds of theories out there. There's going to be plenty to say, but it's just, it's kind of one of these sit back and soak it in type of situations. I'm sure people are in shock, and we're going to just see what's going on here, hang out, see if any news comes up. Got a few sites pulled up. We've got the betting markets pulled up. And this election is just crazy stuff. It's July. This is not October or even November. Yeah, nice to see some of the regulars here. Pray for the country. Crazy how fast a news cycle can change completely. That's completely accurate. If you've watched a lot of my videos, you know that I always say, never say everything is over and nothing's going to change. Be prepared for things to change. Maybe this is an outlier example, but still. Uh, okay, so the perpetrator crooks, registered Republican. Uh, I did in my video this morning that I just put out 2 hours ago. I, people want to usually tie the bad person to other people. That's not really what I like to do. I mean, the bottom line here is, I mean, if Trump's the target, it doesn't really matter what the guy did beforehand. It's kind of irrelevant for me. I mean, if I say I like somebody or I don't like somebody, but my behavior is the opposite of that, I think that's going to be what really matters. I know a lot of people like to score political points on tragedies. That was kind of one of the points of my video, and I don't really like to see that, especially given that it was like a half a day, still under 1 day. So we're going to see what we've got here. If we got any updates. I know I just got this thing going out of nowhere, so I'm assuming it's not going to be packed in here. But I want to see what everybody was thinking, how they're doing, if they're shook up over this, if they're, they're obviously you've got lives you got to live, but let's see what's going on here. Let's see. Okay, saw the video prior to the stream. Totally agree. Good stuff. Donated 15 to progressive program. I mean, yeah, I think those are things that are conflicting. He registered Republican. He donated to a Democratic cause. I don't know how much it matters unless there's an underlying, some kind of group involved, something like that. If it's just somebody, I don't particularly think it's vital to know exactly who they associated with or if they donated here or voted for that person. I mean, again, the end result is the same. But I'm not going to jump to a lot of conclusions. Political violence is bad. Try to score points off of it. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot yet, but I have seen pretty much everybody saying, of course, this is a tragedy. This is awful. Trump comes out of this, he kind of looks like a hero. Some of those pictures we've seen. And have a bullet graze your ear or even just hear it whizzing by. That's got to be startling and terrifying. And something pretty much most of us are never going to have to experience. So this is absolutely fresh stuff. This is going to be all over the news day after day. And heading into an election, I don't really want to know what's going to happen next after this. So let's see. We've got play a couple clips here.
Former
haven't
President
really watched
Trump
all
was
this
speaking
yet.
at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania when shots rang out. Multiple people at the rally were filming at the time. The FBI has said the shots were fired by a 20-year-old man from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour's drive from the rally. Trump was on stage speaking for just over 6 minutes and talking about illegal immigration when the first sound of gunfire is heard. There are 2 bursts of fire. First, 3 shots, and then 5 shots. 3 seconds after the first shot is fired, he is surrounded by Secret Service agents who attempt to hurry him from the stage. They're followed by other law enforcement personnel who are more heavily armed. For a brief moment, Trump tells them to stop until he can get his shoes.
Let me get my shoes.
He wants his shoes.
When he gets up,
That's
blood is
wild.
visible on his right ear. He pauses again before being rushed off stage and raises his fist in the air, appearing to mouth the word, "fight."
How come we heard him say he wants his shoes, but we
The
can't
former
hear
president
him say
was
fight?
standing on stage at this location. Soon after the first gunfire is heard, a video captured what appears to be the suspected shooter dead on the roof of this building. The building is the closest one to the rally that wasn't within the security perimeter and is roughly 400 feet north of where Trump is standing. The location of the body matches the likely firing position. This is because the injury to the ear of Trump, who is facing northwest, is consistent with gunfire from that location. An audio analysis of the shots by an acoustic expert at Montana State University found the gunfire reached the stage from the same approximate distance as the body's location. A Secret Service spokesman also said the suspected shooter fired from an elevated position and was killed. A video filmed during the rally showed a law enforcement sharpshooter positioned here, on a roof roughly 400 feet from that suspected gunman, and aiming in the gunman's general direction before Trump was shot. Footage recorded after the shooting shows one spectator bleeding from a head wound in the bleachers to the north of where Trump was standing. According to the Secret Service, one person at the rally was killed and 2 others were critically injured. The shooting is being investigated as an assassination attempt.
That is stunning stuff. I saw another video of somebody that said they tried to tell Secret Service or somebody about somebody on a roof, but they kind of didn't really jump on it. So I saw that. Again, we've got to see what happens here. I'm sure there's going to be so much pouring in here today, tomorrow, the next day. But this is completely wild stuff. Heard criticisms of the Secret Service about line of sight being open. Again, it hasn't even been a day, and this isn't back when Reagan had his assassination attempt. We've got tons of video, and there's going to be tons of angles. It's all going to probably be fleshed out. I know there's always going to be conspiracies, but let's give it a little bit of time, at least a few days, to see what turns up. But this is really shocking stuff. Let's see what we got here. You saw a rally goer saying 4 years ago. Okay, okay, that would make sense to have security, but the security is going to be beefed up now. Which saw that somewhere. Oh, there's going to be all kinds of investigations. This is going to be a massive thing, all the way through the election. But they're going to beef it up at the convention, which is like right around the corner. You got Melania Trump releases a statement. Let's see. Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, I saw that trending a little bit. I wonder if Trump would have given us his VP choice. Yeah, that's something we're going to have to be, we're on the lookout for that. Does this change anything with the VP pick? Probably not, but maybe it delays it. But Trump wants to come out of this looking strong. He already did, just right after it happened. Came out with the bloody ear and the fist pump. I mean, that's probably the best you can do in that situation. Got these pictures here. It's the hit. I wonder how bad that hit was. If it was just a kind of a graze, or if it was more of a hit. I heard at first there was some kind of shrapnel. It could have been. I mean, these pictures, these are going to go down in the history books, at least some of them. Wow, look at that. That's intense. But again, thanks for everybody showing up here for this totally spontaneous live stream. We're all still kind of processing what's happening here, figuring things out. But it's great to have you here, given there was no notice for this thing. And I'm sure you probably might have a few other things you want to be doing than stop by here. But made a prediction a while ago that either of the main candidates wouldn't make it to the end of inauguration. Polarization is insane. Yeah. th- there's there's some nuts out there. That's for sure. Not sure when he's announcing his VP, unless he said he's doing it. I clearly could be out of the loop. Been totally busy here today, but we're going to squeeze in a little bit of a stream here. You don't think any Democrat will challenge Biden now? They're walking into a losing situation. Yeah, that's the thing. How much of a boon is this going to be for Trump in the polls? I mean, there's polarization. A lot of people don't like Trump, but I mean, there's usually some sympathy after this. Even if some people think Trump is a monster, he's got to go up probably slightly. His favorability might go up higher, but his like head-to-head polling that could go up slightly too. It was already kind of he already had the advantage slightly, and then the debate. There's a lot happening here in politics. Trying to keep up with it. Um, who is going to be Trump's VP? That's a fair question. Seems like we're looking at Burgum, Vance, or Rubio. Those are kind of the top three that a lot of people are talking about, but it could be somebody else. Could be Youngkin. You narrowed it down to there we go. I didn't even see that, but those are the four that I just listed. Um, I think he was waiting for the convention, right? David McCormick was at the rally. Yeah. Oh, he was there. I haven't even heard that yet. He must have not been too far. Yesterday changes Trump's evaluation and priorities. How so? That's the question. It could. I just can't exactly think how it's going to change it. It's way, way too early to speculate. Yeah, the convention that should be Monday, which would be tomorrow. You're overseas. There's an NBC interview with the rally guard that said 4 years ago, police on every roof. Yeah, if there were, which we saw in that video, there were some snipers. I don't know why they would have not been able to see that sooner. Uh, no idea what their strategy will be now. Is that the Dems? It's tough. If you're Biden, this looks really bleak right now for Biden. But I keep saying let's give it some time. Musk endorsed Trump. I did see that. It seemed like he might have been leaning that direction anyway, but Musk comes in with the endorsement. So that's kind of a big deal, depending on how you want to look at it. See these other pictures here. So they got Trump up. He's clearly rattled. I don't even know what that would be like. I'm sure there'd be an element of shock if you just by an inch or two um, averted being killed. I don't even know how to process that. But yeah, this is a wild scene here. He's got the blood. I mean, this is not going to be going away anytime soon. Comes in with the fist pump. And then that shot. Flag in the background, the fist raised. He comes off looking heroic or triumphant that he got shot. And he's just right back up. It's like he's unbeatable. Yeah, the Dem strategy. There's I don't know. I mean, anything can happen. I've said that a million times. But they were already in disarray. it already looked like they were probably going to lose. I'd never say it was overwhelming because it's still July, but after this, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what a path would be for the Democrats, but Trump, he's bound to get some sympathy out of this. I mean, maybe somebody does the same thing to Biden. Biden gets sympathy. I mean, you can come up with some crazy scenarios. Wow. Yeah, this is total chaos. So there's the snipers, police snipers shown on a roof. Maybe these are the guys that took down the gunman. Maybe a little bit too late, I guess. I mean, most of the time, I assume the security is, you know, they're not going to be facing anything close to this. So this is kind of a once in a lifetime event for most of them. So they got to be on their toes, even though most of the time nothing needs to happen like this. But look, there's another shot. He's getting in the SUV, fist in the air. I mean, yeah, that's probably going to speak volumes. Security is really, yeah, it's going to have to be beefed up. I guess they were outside Trump Tower, the convention, the Democratic convention. Everybody's going to be kind of freaked out now. And Trump, his rallies, normally, um, that's where he thrives, in the spotlight, in front of the crowd. I don't know if he's going to cut him back. It's hard to imagine he's going to cut him back. He does seem like, he's doesn't let anybody get him down. In a sense, he does come off as fearless with anything like this. I mean, he could say he took a bullet. This is almost nobody saw this coming. You like how, or you hope Trump, RFK Jr., and Biden have fully adequate security. Secret Service was not on the ball yesterday. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. A lot of times, a mistake has to be made for corrections to be made and things to be tightened up. It's unfortunate, but it's kind of what happens a lot of times. Let's see, what have we got? We've got Senator Lindsey Graham was asked in an appearance on Meet the Press, including Senator J.D. Vance, directly blaming President Biden and Democrats for the attempted assassination. Well, there's a lot of frustration on our side about the way President Trump has been treated. I'm just grateful he's alive. Graham said, I don't want to go down that road right now. Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I think, yeah, Vance, I heard, came out kind of critical of his opposition, the Dems. Maybe it's too soon to kind of go in that direction, but I mean, I guess I can understand, yeah, if there's so much coverage of how Trump is this existential threat, he's just the worst ever. Um, I can understand some of it. Who does RFK take votes away from? Well, I think he would get votes from disaffected voters that who were not going to come out at all. But of the two main candidates, I would guess he would take a little bit more from Biden, given his history as a Democrat environmental lawyer. I mean, his track record is not Republican at all. It's only up until very recently he has a small amount of opinions that might be more appealing to Republicans. So I don't think it's going to be overwhelming, but I would guess he'd probably hurt Biden a little bit more if that's the way you want to characterize it. But it's great to have everybody here. We got 16 people. I'm sure everybody's probably watching their own coverage. They've got multiple sites up. That's probably what I'd be doing right now. But I decided, let's just do a stream. Let's just do it. Let's get on there. Let's see what happens. Law enforcement found 2 explosive devices in Crook's car. Believe they may have found a third at his residence. Oh, that's news. I have not heard that before. So there could have been. Sounds like this could have been a lot worse. Richie Torres, Mike Lawler announced their plans to introduce a bill to enhance Secret Service protection for both Biden and Trump. The bill would provide service also for Kennedy. I heard he was like denied something by Biden or something for Secret Service protection. But yeah, that seems like people want to get on the ball now and beef up the security. Tom Cotton condemned political violence. Okay, yeah, condemning it is all. That's everybody's doing that. That's pretty basic stuff. Melania Trump published a statement that denounced the shooter as a monster who saw her husband as an inhuman political machine. She called on the nation to ascend above the vitriol and the simple-minded ideas that ignite violence. She added, let us not forget that differing opinions, policy, and political games are inferior to love, she wrote. Dawn is here again. Let us reunite now. I don't hear much out of Melania. Maybe I'm just not following her closely, but, this is kind of the first thing I've heard from her in a while. Let's see. Okay. Wisconsin Republican chairman. Remains to be seen whether security changes. Expects the convention to proceed largely as planned. Michael Watley chairs the RNC, was asked several times during a Fox News interview if heated rhetoric about Trump led to the assassination attempt, but he refused to speculate. There's no place in politics in any way, shape, or form for this kind of violence, for these types of actions. It's a horrific act. We don't know the details. We're going to have time for investigations on it. Okay. Milwaukee police chief expressed confidence that the RNC would be safe, asked whether it would be changes. We're going to see whether there are going to be changes. Okay. Interesting. Senior Scoops just woke up. Well, you woke up to a surprise stream here. Totally. No notice. Kind of like the last stream, actually. We got one going after that, or during the first debate, 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I decided this is massive stuff. I'm going to have to squeeze something in here. I'd got a video already out a couple hours ago, 2.5 hours ago. And haven't had a lot of time, so I'm kind of moving some stuff around. I decided to get a stream going for a little bit. This isn't going to go on for tons of hours, but nice to see you here for this absolutely notable day and the day after. So let's see, let's play this one more time here.
Former President Trump was speaking at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania when shots rang out. Multiple people at the rally were filming at the time. The FBI has said the shots were fired by a 20-year-old man from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour's drive from the rally. Trump was on stage speaking for just over 6 minutes and talking about illegal immigration when the first sound of gunfire is heard. There are 2 bursts of fire. First, 3 shots, and then 5 shots. 3 seconds after the first shot is fired, he is surrounded by Secret Service agents who attempt to hurry him from the stage. They're followed by other law enforcement personnel who are more heavily armed. For a brief moment, Trump tells them to stop until he can get his shoes.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
When he gets up, blood is visible on his right ear. He pauses again before being rushed off stage and raises his fist in the air, appearing to mouth the word, "Fight." The former president was standing on stage at this location. Soon after the first gunfire is heard, a video captured what appears to be the suspected shooter dead on the roof of this building. The building is the closest one to the rally that wasn't within the security perimeter and is roughly 400 feet north of where Trump is standing. The location of the body matches the likely firing position. This is because the injury to the ear of Trump, who is facing northwest, is consistent with gunfire from that location. An audio analysis of the shots by an acoustic expert at Montana State University found the gunfire reached the stage from the same approximate distance as the body's location. A Secret Service spokesman also said the suspected shooter fired from an elevated position and was killed. A video filmed during the rally showed a law enforcement sharpshooter positioned here, on a roof roughly 400 feet from that suspected gunman, and aiming in the gunman's general direction before Trump was shot. Footage recorded after the shooting shows one spectator bleeding from a head wound in the bleachers to the north of where Trump was standing. According to the Secret Service, one person at the rally was killed and 2 others were critically injured. The shooting is being investigated as an assassination attempt.
All right, so that's that. A lot of info in there. And again, things are unfolding. It's been half a day, maybe a little bit more. Definitely less than a day. So this is still very fluid. And got a stream going. Glad to have some people showing up. Didn't expect much, but I figured this is maybe some kind of historic day or the day after. And try to get something going here to see what everybody thinks about the situation. It's crazy stuff. I can't believe it. And you never know what's going to happen next. So we're going to just do a little bit of hanging out here for now. RNC still on track. Okay. That's going to be wild. If Trump, I assume he's going to make his appearance, his speech. Don Butler. Great to see you here in the stream. This might be a first. Don Butler, the member. Definitely appreciate that. You retracted your messages, but you're here. That's the important thing. So hope everybody's doing pretty well here. Hard to believe after sleeping on it. Absolutely. It's kind of a shock kind of a thing. There's no question about it. It's going to take some time to process, I'm sure. At least a couple of days. But I mean, this could have been it. This could have been much worse. If Trump had been leaning a different way, or turned his head, that would have been the whole ball game. And then we don't really want to speculate the fallout from that. But, you know, this has got to help Trump, I would assume, a little bit. Taking one in the ear. Not life-threatening. And we can take a look here at the markets. Here's the main ones here on predicted. And we've got Trump here is at 65, Biden 24. So Trump has gone up a little bit here. So before this, it was about 60, kind of still after that debate. Now it's ticked up here to about 65. So it's a bit of a spike here for Trump so far in the first 15, 16 hours after this. Don Butler coming in with the $10. Very, very much appreciate that. Great to see that. I mean, great to see you here, and all the extra contributions to the channel are absolutely appreciated. Still trying to get things expanded on the channel. Putting out content every day. Of course, every little bit of support absolutely helps, even though this is probably not the situation people wanted to find themselves in here today. But it's a little bit quiet in here. That's kind of what I was expecting. I mean, I'd much rather be looking up some other stuff myself, but I wanted to pull together a stream real quick for the community. And here we are. This is Sunday. This is July 14th. And not even one day after this assassination attempt. That's wild stuff. That just feels like a movie. That's the kind of thing you hear about. There's always more mild plots and attempts you hear about somebody might have had going on, but this is hardcore stuff. We've got all the videos, we've got all the angles. This isn't anything like Ronald Reagan. And I mean, theoretically, it could have happened to anybody. It could happen to Biden. The reactions might be different if it happened to Biden. I don't know. I mean, a little bit different at least. But we're gonna just sit on here for a bit. Senior scoops. If I check the poly market odds, I haven't personally got on there yet. I saw some screenshots, anecdotal news about poly market. Let's see, but what do we got? We've got Virginia, Minnesota, Maine, and New Hampshire are all 60-40 Biden Trump. Okay. And prior to this, I'm assuming what they were maybe 65, 70, coming down a little bit. That's close to toss-up territory. I know I've seen people, yeah, those are the states that a lot of people are saying this they could be tied. Trump could maybe flip them. It always takes me a little bit of time to come around to seeing some of these blue states actually get competitive. We're still a little bit far away from the election. We've still got more than 100 days. But they could, I mean, it's a possibility. We still got to see Kennedy's ballot access. I mean, there's still questions answered. If this was October, then there's a lot less to answer. Then we're pretty much going to be down to maybe something happening at the last minute, and then how accurate are the polls going to be, and then voter enthusiasm. But the market here on predicted, they've got Wisconsin, they've got Georgia, and Wisconsin here is 63 Trump or Republican Party, and 40 cents there for Biden, the Democrat. And this has flipped here. This flipped, I think, around the debate. After the debate, it certainly flipped, and then it shot up. It was in the high 50s. Now we're in the 60s. So this is Trump at his absolute pinnacle. I mean, Biden already looked in disarray and weak after that debate, and we still don't know if he's going to be the nominee. What is the market showing right now here? It's showing Biden at 61, so that's not a guarantee. And then after that, we've got this event from yesterday. Trump seems to be having, as far as electorally, the prospects, his maybe his best point ever, best week ever. That conviction, remember that conviction? That feels like that was 10 years ago. Based on everything that's happened over the past 5, 6 weeks, that just feels like that was has nothing to do with this. So maybe something else happens in 2 weeks, and all of a sudden that takes the spotlight again. But we've got Georgia here also. That was already, Trump was favored there. Now he's almost heavily favored. He's in the mid 70s. That's getting up there. So whatever polling now we've seen in the last few days, it kind of doesn't even matter anymore. And the polling that's going to come out over the next couple of days is not going to factor in what just happened. So we've kind of got to sit here for another 4 or 5 days and then see what happens over the next couple of weeks till the end of the month. But this is absolutely wild stuff. But I mean, of course, it's not really, the focus is not going to be on the electoral side, even though that's mostly what I cover here on this channel. Elections and polls. Of course, the shooting it's crazy. And those images are, you can't unsee them. They're there. The blood, the fist. He gets right back up. I mean, it just conveys strength. Even if you're not at all a fan of Trump in the slightest, you're probably going to at least think that he did look reasonably strong, all things considered, that he just got shot. So that's that. If you hate Trump, it's got to be bad right now, knowing he's going to get some sympathy, and he was already ahead. And if you love Trump, I mean, you're hating to see this. You want to know who's behind it, and you hate the fact that he was a target here. But you're going to love the potential political fallout. Let's see. You believe they were 70-30 Biden Trump. Okay, yeah, so an improvement there. You're right, it's July. Saw a couple hearts there. Where the state law for Wisconsin and Nevada say you can't change nominees for the ballot after July. I haven't heard the specifics. I heard that generically there was going to be potentially legal action if nominees were attempted to be changed. I didn't get the specifics on the states, but I did hear something in that direction. Yeah, iconic image. Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, if you think Trump's an absolute monster, it's going to be tough to say that he looks strong there or to say anything positive about it. I get it, but I mean, we saw these images here. I mean, that first one, the ear hit. It's just like I don't even know what he'd be thinking there. I'm assuming it's got to be painful, but he can't understand why. It's going to take you a few seconds to process that, oh, that was a bullet. And it could get a lot worse. And then somebody did die here. That is extremely unfortunate that some rally goer, I think they got shot in the head. We're still waiting on that, but that's got to be rough. You're just coming out for an evening at a rally for, I assuming his candidate, and then you're not coming back. That's that's horrible. And I know a couple other people I think got seriously injured. And yeah, this is whoever got this shot. This is some hardcore stuff right here. This is like in the trenches. Like we've got the obstruction on the side. Trump is down. He's got the blood. It's crystal clear though. I can't even imagine what he'd be thinking in that minute. I'm assuming he's got to be freaked out. Seems like a normal reaction to me. Then he gets up, he's got the blood. And of course, they've got to get him out of there, but apparently he asks for his shoes. And then I'm sure he's disoriented, but since he's not seriously hurt, he comes in with the fist bump and I guess yells fight. There it is. I mean, he's down, but he's not out. He's right back up. And yeah, that's that image right there. That's going to be one of the top ones, probably the most memorable, iconic. But there was no shortage of cameras here at this event, obviously. Again, this isn't the 80s. God, that would be. I'm assuming after something like that, you're going to have some ringing in your ears. That's just my guess. And this rally was what, only 5, 6, 7 minutes in, something like that. So this thing just started. These people were probably waiting for hours, and then it just starts, and then they had to get out of there. I wonder how many times the shooter was shot. I mean, I haven't heard anything about that. Was it just like one headshot? Did they shoot him a ton? I don't know. Did they miss any shots? Were there some stray bullets that went past? Yeah, what was going on across the street there? And this wasn't even at night. This was in the day. Then he has another fist bump or a fist pump as he is about to be hauled off to the hospital. So yeah, I know Trump. He's all about projecting strength, and he did it here. There's no question. I mean, he could have just limped out of there and did nothing, and nobody, I don't think, would have had any criticism of that. But he didn't limp out of there. He didn't crawl out of there. He wanted to show that they're not going to take him down. I'm assuming that's what he's thinking. Pure conjecture, but let me know if I'm wrong here. Close up of the fist, the bloody ear. Wow, that's totally wild stuff. We've got gun traced to shooting suspect's father was legally purchased. Here we go. This is an update. It's purchased. An urgent trace conducted by the ATF. Okay. Look at that close up there. You got the ear, you got the blood. Looks like, yeah, I'd like to know how serious this hit was. It looks like, not seeing like a big chunk taken off, but obviously he got hit and he's got the blood on the face. That, I don't know. Yeah, it's, you know, you're kind of speechless on some of this stuff. Let's see. Back to the comments. We were millimeters of from history playing out much differently. Absolutely, it's scary stuff. It's terrifying. You know, if you had your head turned a little bit in a different direction, you're done. Political implications are hard to predict because this is so unprecedented. That's true. We don't know what's going to happen, but I'm assuming Trump, I think it's safe to say Trump is going to get some sympathy in the immediate future. That I think seems kind of uncontroversial. Just out of church sermon. Okay. Prophet, when wickedness and turmoil was rampant in Israel, the theme was praying for revival in the nation, something definitely needed. All right, Aquafan, thanks for stopping in on the spontaneous stream. People don't want Rubio. I did not see that mentioned here. God withheld blessings, allowed turmoil with his people turn from him. This is also a tragedy for the left. I assume you mean Democrats are more likely to lose. I'm assuming that's the implication there. And yeah, I don't know. People that hated Trump, my guess is there's going to be different levels. Some people are going to be, there's always going to be a few people who would publicly say they're disappointed that it wasn't worse. But for the most part, I think people are going to have some sympathy and at least say that, yeah, this is wild stuff. And they don't want to see anything escalate like this. Let's see, what have we got here? Anything? The latest, we've got former President Donald J. Trump vowed to remain defiant in the face of wickedness on Sunday, as authorities discovered two explosive devices in a car belonging to a would-be assassin who shot at Mr. Trump at a Saturday rally, further roiling the 2024 presidential election. Federal law enforcement officials were working feverishly to understand how Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old from Bethel Park, PA, was able to get within firing range of the presumptive Republican nominee, injuring Mr. Trump, killing one member of the audience, and critically wounding two others. Well, we got a lot more here. We've got law enforcement officials found two explosive devices, and they may have found a third at his residence. According to a person with knowledge of the investigation, an AR-15 type semi-automatic rifle was found next to Mr. Crook's body. It was purchased by a family member, possibly his father. Authorities have given no indication that there was a motive for the shooting. I mean, the goal, if if the goal is to take out Trump, I mean, what what other motive could there be? I mean, it's probably going to be you didn't like him that much, but I'm assuming there's a lot of mental illness involved here. Um, let's see. Mr. Crooks was killed by a member of the Secret Service, according to a spokesman for the agency, just before Mr. Trump, with blood on his face, was rushed off the stage, raising his fist in defiance. He later said on social media that a bullet had pierced his right ear, but he was able to walk off his plane unaided when he landed in New Jersey hours later. I think I saw this, yeah. So this is after the fact. Don't often see Trump without a tie on. But he's coming down the stairs. Okay. President Biden was scheduled to receive a briefing from Homeland Security and law enforcement officials at the White House as questions remained about a motive, potential security failures, and the Secret Service's preparations for the rally. The House Committee on Oversight and Accountability said it would be investigating the assassination attempt and had asked Kimberly A. Cheadle, Director of Secret Service, to testify at a hearing on July 22nd. It was not immediately clear how the attack might affect the presidential race. Mr. Trump was formally going to be nominated, the RNC, which begins in Milwaukee on Monday. His campaign and RNC officials said in a statement the convention would proceed as planned, and Mr. Trump said early that he looked forward to speaking to the nation this week from Wisconsin. Do you believe that the talk of Biden stepping down is over? Nah, I don't think it's over. I really don't know what to expect on that. That's been a complete mess. I did a video, I did probably a couple of videos on that, and it just seems so preventable. I know we're here now, and who cares about what could have happened, but if there was just a regular primary where there were debates and Biden could have had this all exposed or fleshed out 6, 7, 8 months ago, and then we could have been doing the same thing. But it's like all of a sudden it's a big blind side that Biden has issues with aging and whatever you want to call it. And it does seem like he's in a very weak position. But given that it's been a couple of weeks, I guess it's not likely he's going to step down, but it's not totally unlikely. But anyway, um, again, this is a early Sunday live stream here following this probably historically notable event here, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, as we're about 1 hour into this stream. As you probably heard, Trump at his rally in Pennsylvania yesterday evening got shot and hit in the ear, and he's okay. Somebody else died at the rally. Very, very tragic. A couple other people seriously injured, and the gunman is dead, but there's questions about how this was able to go on and motivations, all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be a lot of conspiracy theories. There's going to be a lot of information that's going to change. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be fluid here, as I keep saying. Has not even been a day. Hasn't even been 20 hours yet. And who knows what's going to happen next. Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania will briefly address the media. Okay. So we've got this diagram here. Gunman, I guess, over here on this roof. And the stage would be here. So could have ended very differently. So 2 explosives found in his car. I mean, I want to know, what did he park over here somewhere in this lot? And what building is this? And does he know the people here? How did he get on the roof? Was this place open at the time? Did somebody let him in? Those are all questions I think we want to know. And apparently this was outside of the security perimeter, but this is like right there. I mean, this shouldn't be outside of it. This should be secured. So I don't get what's going on here. How this was just wide open, and what happened surrounding this building, this parking lot, all that stuff. Let's see. Steve Scalise blamed Trump's political critics for the shooting, saying there were hypercharged rhetoric on the left. Oh yeah, Scalise was injured himself. That's true. At the baseball game. Can't forget about that one. He says the political left and mainstream media have levied unfair personal attacks against Mr. Trump for years. It's been an all-out assault on Donald Trump, the person, for years now, and it adds up. Senator Bernie Sanders, the Vermont Independent, condemned the assassination attempt in an appearance on NBC, noting an incident earlier this year where a man tried to burn down his office in Burlington while staff members were inside. He added that America as a nation does not need radical rhetoric, and that ultimately politics should be kind of boring. Man set on fire outside Bernie Sanders' Vermont office. I do remember, I think, a little bit of this, but this did not get intense coverage, I'll say. But I don't know, is that going to be in poor taste for Bernie to talk about this other situation? I don't know. Maybe it's fine. President Biden's telephone call with former President Trump Saturday night was short and respectful, according to a White House official who requested anonymity to discuss the private call between the two rivals. Biden had expressed outrage earlier Saturday at the shooting, and he said he was trying to reach the former president directly. We've got Ron Johnson joined Senator Fetterman in calling for national unity and a cooling of political rhetoric. All right. Mike Turner of Ohio said he hopes to learn more about the unconfirmed reports that rally attendees identified the gunman and were trying to alert law enforcement before he opened fire. I mentioned that earlier. I saw some video of somebody at the rally talking about how he tried to let them know there was somebody on the roof with a gun, with a rifle, and they didn't jump on that. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that already, but of course that would be insane if that's actually what happened. Um, so yeah, this is gonna go on and on. Uh, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that's just everybody's gonna be talking about it. I mean, you thought the conviction was a big deal? That again, it feels like that happened years ago. And the debate, that seems like that was like 6 months ago at this point. I mean, politics is it's fickle. It just you cannot predict what's going to happen next. Let's see, we got anything updated here? Nope. Um, let's see. There should be radical rhetoric. Okay, I guess it that there's going to be some subjectivity there. I think we understand the point after the shooting. Let's keep it pretty minimal for the time being. We're living decades in a few years. Exciting time to be alive. Completely wild. Do we know the gun the shooter had? This C an AR-15, but if you're looking for something more specific, that I'm not going to be able to help you with. Uh, but yeah, this is. We thought that 2016 election was totally insane, and then last time during COVID, that was completely insane. But looks like this one is possibly gonna trump the other ones. Pun not really intended there. When is the next primary stream? That might be. I, I might be able to do the Arizona one. I think that's coming up here at the end of the month. I can't guarantee it because it's 2 to 3 weeks out, so we'll have to check back maybe around a week before. But if I can't do that one, I'll try to do the one after that. Probably be able to do probably 2 to 3, I would guess, over the next 5 or 6 weeks. But I'd have to again check the schedule to be sure. But this is kind of going to be a stream in between the other streams. We did one. I squeezed one in after the debate, or during the debate, sorry. And now we're doing this one. So yeah, we're kind of just taking it minute by minute, hour by hour, digesting the entire situation. Because yeah, it's a shock. I'm sure a lot of people are kind of scared and freaked out. Seems reasonable to me to have some uneasy feelings here. Don't vote for Carrie Lake. She's bad. Um, okay. Is that included in the primary? It's gonna be a good race though, I guess. Gallego and Lake. So again, the fallout here from the election, or for the election, if you're looking for markets or polls, obviously we don't have any polls after this, and whatever comes out over the next couple of days is not going to have factored this in. But the markets, that's pretty much real time. And we've got Trump here. He's at 65 cents, favored to win. And if you go back 90 days, Biden was on top all the way until mid-May. So about 2 months ago. Then Trump took the lead, but Biden was 1 cent away here at the end of May. And then after the debate, it just, Trump went up, and now after this, Trump has spiked again. Now he's into the 60s, the mid 60s. I think everybody's going to be waiting to see Trump's first appearance and maybe interview and speech after this. I'm sure that's going to be totally notable. And in the individual states we've got here, Wisconsin, Trump is at 63, which is, that's not insignificant. That is significant considering Biden had the lead here. Biden was at 60 cents on June 5th. So it's been a dramatic change here. It doesn't mean Trump's going to win the state. It just means that if the election were right now, it seems likely. That'd be my guess. But we know the polling has really underestimated Trump in this state. Then we've got Georgia here as well at 77 cents for Trump, Biden 25 cents, or the Democrat at 25 cents. And this market has widened up here over the past 3 months. And is Biden going to be the nominee? Look at this, 59 cents for Biden, Harris 27. Look at this. Biden was at like 90 in April. He was in the high 80s. At the end of June, after that debate, it just crashed. And now it's unclear what's going to happen. So there's going to be news pouring in all day. I'm sure there's round the clock coverage on the major networks. This is going to be ongoing. People are going to probably do compilations of the different angles for the shooting. I'm sure there was a lot of cameras rolling at that point. People on their phones. Biden or Trump had just got on the stage. I'm sure people were recording the whole thing. So there's going to be all that. There's going to be interviews, new pictures, tons of speculation. I encourage people to not rush to judgment on a lot of things. Let's give it a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days. You don't think that's Carrie Lake can beat the Dem? She lost her governor's race. That's true. That's a stain for Lake. That was a winnable race. And now she's coming back 2 years later for a different office. It's not looking great for her. I can admit that. But Gallego, I don't know if he's necessarily going to run away with it. But I'd say he has the edge for sure. Although after this kind of event, I don't know, can this spill over onto Senate races? Is that a possibility or no chance? 2 new updates. Let's see. We've got no known ties to extremists. Investigators are still searching for any ties between the suspect and extremist organizations or individuals. So how much searching did they do before they declared there's no known ties? Did they do a ton and they said there's no ties, or they did very little? All right, and we've got Republicans to introduce bill to enhance Secret Service protection for Trump, Biden, RFK Jr. Yeah, we covered that a little bit ago. The working class will definitely be charged to commit to voting after this. That's what I think. Most unreliable voter. I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're saying there. We've got Vice President Kamala Harris has postponed a campaign stop planned for Tuesday in Palm Beach County, which we plan to address abortion. All right. If you had to guess which state flips first, New Hampshire or Maine at large? Well, let's talk it out here. In 16, New Hampshire, super close to flipping for Trump. So if you go by that, it's got to be New Hampshire. But if you factor in potential trends and the makeup of the state and things that have happened since then, maybe you lean a little bit towards Maine at large. And of course, that polling, a lot of people point to it. I think that that's too soon to think that Trump would flip Maine. I think a lot of those voters were just unsatisfied with Biden, but they're going to vote for him in the end. So, and then we saw one poll out of New Hampshire since the debate, and Trump was up 2. That's surprising. So I mean, they're close. You know, it's hard to make a hard call on some of these states, but considering New Hampshire was so close at 16, maybe I would pick that, just because we haven't seen Maine get that close to that kind of tiny margin. Does this help the Republicans running for Senate seats? I think I was just talking about that a couple minutes ago. I would think it. I mean, if anything, it would help. I don't think now they're going to do worse at all. That wouldn't make any sense. Probably not much, but maybe it could, on the margins, help, and maybe that does net them an extra seat in the end. But maybe I've got it all wrong. We're going to have to see the polling in 1 or 2 weeks here, hopefully by the end of the month, before the next predictions come out for early August. But this is kind of unprecedented. This is uncharted waters. We don't know what this is going to do. Usually there's a lot of sympathy after some kind of attack like this. But this is so polarized that who knows how much it's going to do. Maybe it does a ton. Maybe Trump just surges and his favorability ratings go up to like 60%. Maybe he gains like 3 or 4 points in the polls. That would be massive, even though it doesn't sound like that much. Okay, the assassin. J.D. Vance was blaming the Dems for the shooting. Yeah, I covered that. I heard about that. It seemed like that's probably a little much and a little soon. But, I guess there's pent up frustration about how the coverage of Trump over the years has just been so bad, so long, that he just had a moment of some kind of release. But yeah, usually after that, you don't want to go for blaming somebody, I guess. Let's see. We've got something new here. We've got Biden briefing on Trump rally shooting is underway in Situation Room. Biden and Harris are receiving an updated briefing on the Trump rally shooting. Officials giving updates to the president include FBI Director Christopher Wray, Attorney General, Secret Service Director, and Homeland Security Secretary. Okay. All right, let's see. We've got the spectator who was killed at the rally. And again, that's awful. Corey Comparatori, something like that. According to his sister, he was 50. Her quote here from the sister is, "The hatred for one man took the life of..." Let me start that over. "The hatred for one man took the life of the one man we all love the most," she said in a brief interview, through tears that she and no one in her family had slept and that they were not ready to talk about him. "We watched him die on the news," she said. "That's how we found out. We saw our brother die on the news." Whew. It's heartbreaking stuff. And apparently there's two other people that were seriously to critically injured. Assuming they're not in the clear, they could also succumb to their injuries. I haven't heard anything yet. So how's everybody else doing here? Everybody doing pretty well here on this weird Sunday. Totally weird stuff. A lot of people in shock. And this is the biggest story ever. It's bigger than the conviction. It's bigger than the debate. It's bigger than pretty much anything we've been seeing.
Take a look at what happened.
It's got to be wild. I mean, if you're in a crowd and you hear the shots, I mean, you're probably not going to think it's shots. I can understand that. You might think it's firecrackers. That makes sense. But what do you do? Not a lot of people ran if they even could. I'm sure they just the rally just started.
So we gotta move to the bus.
And he wants his shoes.
Watch out.
That's crazy.
Wait.
And I don't get. We can hear him ask for his shoes, but we can't hear him say what looks like fight. That part I don't really understand.
If you want to really see something that said,
Wow, so that's we've all probably seen it maybe dozens of times already, but we're probably all going to see that hundreds of times over the next few months, maybe years. So we're kind of just hanging out here, seeing what anybody has to say about this, taking the temperature of the fans, the community, putting together a spontaneous stream here, trying to answer any questions you might have that are relevant. What Senate seats do you think can flip for Republicans? Well, West Virginia, that's a total layup. That's an instant flip. So that puts them at 50. Now, after that, it gets much more difficult. You've got Montana and Ohio. Those are the next two on the radar, and they're far from a guarantee. Now, my last prediction, I did flip Montana. I did have it going red, but I still had Ohio tilting toward brown. But those two seats are absolutely viable pickups for the GOP. So they could come out with 52 if they're able to nab those. And then they're going to have to go into some more unfriendly territory in Nevada, Michigan. Michigan's an open seat that might be their best bet. But then Nevada, and then they're going to have to really have a little bit more of an uphill climb, I think, in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and then the real stretch would be Virginia and Larry Hogan in Maryland. That's like the reach targets here for the GOP. And for the Democrats, they have pretty much only two potential pickups in Texas or Florida, and those are unlikely to flip, but that's their best bet. After that, you'd have to start getting into Nebraska or Missouri. I even had Richard Simmons dead yesterday, too. How about that? That's a notable death, but that got completely overshadowed by this shooting and assassination attempt. Swinger, hey, you just showing up? Well, welcome. We're kind of just hanging out here. Significant event here. Less than 24 hours ago. Less than 20 hours ago. So you're getting a completely spontaneous stream. I apologize on the lack of notice, but I think given the situation, it's understandable. So we're kind of just taking a look at any updates that come in here. I mean, we've covered the markets, the polling. There's really no new polling out here. Oh, actually, there is. This wasn't on here just a little bit ago. We've got some general election polling, looks like, from NBC and Fox. And I don't know how much this even matters now, given what just happened, but let's see. Fox has, in the head-to-head, Trump +1. NBC has him +2, but these are different percentages. Fox has Trump at 49, Biden 48. NBC has Trump 45 and Biden 43. So that's kind of a notable disparity. Approval ratings, Fox has Biden at 42 and NBC has him at 40. Generic congressional vote. We've got the Dems +1 from NBC, and they throw in here Harris versus Trump. NBC has Trump up 2, Fox has Trump up 1, and then Newsom. Fox has it tied at 48, and Whitmer, Trump is up 1 at 49 to 48. So some new polling. Looks like it just dropped here. Let's see. I think Trump has a chance of winning Virginia and Minnesota. After this, the chances go up, I would say. I don't think it's overwhelming. I don't think he's the favorite in either of those states. I don't think that's really at all what it is. But I could see them getting closer. But I'm still going to be hesitant to say that they're going to flip until right before the election, at least in October, when we look at some polling right toward the end and see what the national environment is. Because if it doesn't really favor Trump and somehow he's lagging in the polls, I would not think those states could flip at that point. But right now, if the election were today, they'd probably be pretty close and could flip. But who knows? Actually, right after this event, it's all bets are off. I would assume Trump's going to have some sympathy and he would do a little bit better in the polling, but who knows? Buckeye politics, hey, absolutely insane. Good to see you here in the live stream. Yeah, this is wild stuff, isn't it? Can't believe we're seeing this. It's surreal in a sense. I mean, Trump's probably thinking, and everybody's probably thinking, everybody close to him is thinking that it just was maybe an inch away, and he would have been dead, and that would have absolutely upended everything. I know it's wild. You know, give it 2 3 days, let it soak in. Let's see, how everybody feels and some of the fallout with the investigation and questions and answers. But it is wild. It's kind of one of these days where you're gonna always remember. People are gonna mention that all the time. Today's the 14th, but yeah, the 13th, 7/13. It's gonna be one of those dates that just gets brought up, probably at least for the foreseeable future. Let's see, we've got a special here, ABC News special, 8 p.m. Eastern, minute by minute, Trump assassination attempt, minute by minute. So a day later, they're coming out with a minute to minute special. That should be interesting. I think we're all anxious to see, like, what is next. Is Trump going to do anything before the convention and the nomination? Is he going to do an interview? Is he going to give a speech? He might, maybe he just puts out a tweet. But I think we want to see, what is he going to say about this. Is he going to come out and be angry and say, and go in that direction? I would guess he's not going to want to go too much in that direction, if he's going to want to keep as much sympathy as he can get. But the sympathy is probably going to go up for Trump. I mean, I don't know how much he's going to skyrocket in the polls given the polarization, but people that were kind of on the fence, or maybe even light Biden supporters, they might be thinking, okay, they don't like this guy that much, but this is off the charts. Yeah, I read he posted at least one thing. Is that a Truth Social type thing? I think I read that, and I don't have it up here. I don't know what the second thing was, if that was at the same time or if that was hours later. I'm not sure if there's anything today up there that he's posted. Do they get the kids' parents involved in the investigation? Well, given that it sounds like they're over 18, or the shooter was over 18, probably not as much as if they weren't over 18, but given that the shooter got the gun, apparently there's some connection to maybe the dad, then of course the dad is going to be involved. That's what it would seem like to me. But there's no question they're going to be talking to the mom, the dad, everybody who's ever met this guy. They're going to track down people from grade school, probably. You know, they're going to find what he said when he went to camp, at Boy Scouts, whatever. They're going to get everything. All right, let's see. We've got President Biden will deliver remarks to the nation at 1:30. That's going to be wild because people are already still thinking Biden has cognitive issues. And now he has to come out, demonstrate that, and then also speak sympathetically to his opponent. That's wild. The White House said President Biden was receiving a briefing on the shooting. Okay, I think I read that already. Assassination attempt on the former president Donald Trump last night was absolutely unacceptable and tragic, Governor Josh Shapiro said at a news conference. He said he spoke with the families of the 3 other victims, one of whom was fatally shot. This morning, more of a religious take on what happened. Just saying we need peace. All right. Hey, we can't possibly relate to what it would be like to have a bullet graze past your head. I mean, very, very few people can speak to that. I don't know what I would think after that. I'm sure I would be highly shook up. Definitely for at least a couple of days. I mean, you're gonna be having your whole life maybe flash before you at that point, knowing that if you just happen to lean over slightly, that was it. The man who was fatally shot. Again, let's see, Corey Comparatori. Comparatori? I'd like to get his name right because, I mean, he unfortunately, he didn't make it, but he's a firefighter and a father of 2 daughters. And apparently he was 50 years old. He said that, Governor Shapiro said, okay, he said his wife asked that I share with all of you that Corey died a hero, that Corey drove on his family to protect them last night at this rally. All right. So again, he was a firefighter, went to church every Sunday. And he was an avid supporter of the former president and was so excited to be there last night with him in the community. Yeah, I haven't seen a picture yet of this person, but I guess last Sunday was the last time he was going to make it to church. Trump was very presidential and had the best take out of all the politicians. I think the first statement he did put out, I read that a few hours ago. I did think it was pretty decent. Again, I don't have it here, but I think I know what you're talking about. Bill Hicks here. We've got our Bill Hicks reference. It's all just a choice between love and fear. Is that what he said about the 2 major political parties? About politics, elections? Interesting to get a Bill Hicks reference in the chat, but these are interesting times. See if we got anything new on 538. Not really. A little bit here on Real Clear Politics, but nothing too juicy. And the markets, let's get an update on these. Yet again, I mean, it's unrelated, but Richard Simmons dead at 76. That's probably notable. If it wasn't for this event yesterday, the shooting, I'm sure people would be talking about Richard Simmons. Um, okay. But I do appreciate everybody that's decided to work in a little bit of the stream into their schedule. I mean, this is, even if this didn't happen, everybody's got busy schedules. And certainly after this, there's a lot of news and fallout happening. I'm sure you want to make the rounds and check out other sources. But I appreciate everybody stopping by here, even if it's only for 5 minutes or an hour and a half, whatever it is. Kind of just wanted to get on here and see if anybody had anything to say, share their thoughts, maybe any emotions about it. But yeah, not the biggest stream I've had. But probably keep going for a little bit longer. I want to hit at least 2 hours, and we've been almost an hour 45. But we're kind of just hanging out, taking it in as things go. News is coming in here every maybe 5-10 minutes. We're getting something. So, again, after this, the images we've seen of Trump right after the incident, we'll come back to that in just a second. We got something new here. Okay, this is about the victim. We did just read that on New York Times. He's a firefighter, dad of 2 daughters. All right, but the images, I mean, whoever got these shots, these are historic images. That might be the most notable one I've seen going around the most. The fist raised with the blood just streaming over his face with the American flag in the background. Yeah, that it looks triumphant. Um, what is the best case scenario that plays as a result? And how likely is that best case scenario? Well, for which side? I mean, for Trump or for Biden? I mean, for Trump, I'm assuming you mean for Trump, given he's likely to at least maintain his advantage after this. I mean, it depends how unrealistic you want to go. I mean, you could say that this is just going to win over half of the very tepid Biden supporters, and he's going to get a ton of independents, and Trump's going to just surge 5 points in the swing states. Then he's going to start flipping Virginia and New Hampshire, Minnesota, maybe even get close in New Mexico. I mean, that's probably like the best case scenario, but I think that's a little bit too premature and a little bit too unreasonable at this point. I mean, that's what I can see happening, but again, that could just be short-lived. You never know how this is going to affect people. That's the thing. It's all conjecture. We all say that it's baked in. If you're going to hate Trump or like Trump, that's it. I mean, why would anything change that? Just because he had an assassination attempt, well, so what? If you didn't like him, you still don't like him. But it's all about the margins. It's all about disaffected voters and enthusiasm and anybody that might be toward the middle. That's where the focus is going to be. I'm assuming his base is going to want to come out a lot more. They're going to say that not that they weren't already going to come out, but this is going to ignite maybe some of his base that was kind of thinking they didn't need to come out. Maybe they're not in a competitive state. Maybe it'll ignite more people in the states that do lean blue, like Minnesota or Maine or New Hampshire, Virginia. That's a possibility. Maybe some Biden supporters might not feel so strongly about voting against Trump. Maybe it doesn't affect them at all. You think the flag was photoshopped? This flag in this picture, you think this is not there? I mean, I've seen it in other pictures where it's there, hanging. Is it too optimistic to believe this is an opportunity to bring the rhetoric down and restore some sanity? I mean, we're in uncharted waters here. It's not too optimistic to think that something of this caliber could actually put a dent. And I mean a dent. I don't think it would dramatically change things. Certainly not in the long term, just based on this. But I think in the short term, at least, I think people could expect a little bit more sanity. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen. I'm thinking, but it's not unrealistic. You think Trump will surge in polling after this vote? It will go back to being more competitive after a month or so. Fair assessment. That makes sense until the next event happens, right? For the last couple of months, I've been saying, well, I want to wait and see what happens with the polling. We've had the conviction. Well, before that, we had indictments. Then we had the trial. Then we had the conviction. And then we had the debate. And now we have this. It's kind of hard to keep waiting. But I also want to know what you mean by the surge in polling. Is a surge just 3-4 points? Or is a surge, he's going to be leading in New York, and, he's getting California down to 10 points. Is that a surge, or that's not that's way too far? I'm assuming that's pretty far. Turnout among Trump's base will be insane. Yeah, I agree with that. Even though the election is not for more than 100 days, I don't think it's really going to dry up that much as far as the enthusiasm from the base. I'll say one thing: the image and video projects strength. This will hype up the base and possibly attract some swing voters. At least in the short term, that doesn't seem unreasonable to me. Now, if this happened in like mid-October and early voting was maybe getting going, then it's going to have to be a positive impact. That would be an absolute slam dunk of an October surprise. But I don't know if this is going to make Democrats freak out even more. They're going to think they have to stir it up, find some dirt on Trump, have a change in the trajectory, because they're going to think they can't beat this guy now. And they've got to get something going here in September and October, because it looks like they're trailing by more than just a point or two, at least where it counts. But again, the polls could be off. They were off. We've seen them off before. You could have sworn you saw that photo without the flag. I've seen, maybe you're thinking of a similar photo. I saw one that was very similar without the flag because the angle was just a little bit different. Maybe that's what it is. But this picture I've seen with the flag all over the place. But there are several that are similar. So this is the shooter here. This graduation picture. Okay, Trump calls for Americans to stand united after shooting. Okay, it was God alone who prevented the unthinkable from happening. Okay, Trump added, in this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united to show our true character as Americans, remaining strong and determined and not allowing evil to win. I don't know why some of these words are capitalized, the first letter, but okay, that was some hours ago. And again, these other pictures, I mean, Trump with the bloody ear, it looks like he just got out of battle. And he was not defeated. And maybe there's a few people that wish it was worse. But if you take politics out of it, it is kind of a heroic story to get raised in the ear and walk away from it. It's got to be super scary. I mean, I don't know how I could get back up on that stage and do another rally. I would have to have it indoors. I'd have to have like my own security detail, like everywhere. I mean, because he can't get on Zoom or do a Skype rally. That's not going to cut it. But I don't know how freaked out he's going to be. But Trump is not a guy who likes to show any weakness under any circumstances. But yeah, here's some, I mean, there's the flag here hanging, some more shots. That's the initial hit where you're just like, wait, what happened? Something hit my ear and it hurts. But you're not going to think that there's going to be a shower of bullets coming at you. That's got to just throw you into shock. And then the rush in, the swarming, and that shot, that's the shot. That shot, I think, is one of the best ones, if not the best. I mean, you've got the clear shot of Trump with, I'm not even sure what it is on the sides, but he's down. He's got the blood just streaming several lines across his face. He's down, face down, I believe, and he's on the ground. And it's like he's down in the trenches. This is like, it's like a war zone shot almost. You know, I don't want to go hyperbolic with it, but I mean, whoever got that shot, that's a great shot. It's crystal clear, and it just captures the harrowing nature of it. A presidential candidate is nearly killed, and we are discussing bumps and polls. Kind of wow. Yeah, I mean, that's mostly what I do. I do election coverage, so I don't want to totally avoid talking about the fallout, but I mean, I'll cover whatever everybody wants to hear about. But yeah, that shot I think speaks volumes there. And then He asks for his shoes. That was crazy. Then he does the fist. He he did not want to. It sounds weird to say that he didn't want to miss out on an opportunity, but he probably did the best he could do there. He got up. He took a second to compose himself, and then he projects the strength. He does the fist. He's got the blood. Looks like he yells fight. I mean, it seems like he's relentless. Takes a shot to the ear, and it's unfortunate that three other people were hit. The one person died. All the focus is going to be on Trump. But did Trump not have a tie on for this rally? Usually he has a tie on. I guess maybe, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he stopped wearing ties. I haven't noticed. So then, yeah, we've got the shooter. I guess he's down across on top of the building. Chaotic scene here. Yeah, all these people that waited probably, I always hear there's like hours long wait time for these rallies. So these people might have camped out. I don't know. I'm sure they waited a long time. And then what they get 5, 6, 7 minutes into this thing, and then this happened. Yeah, things will simmer down. I mean, we'd think, right? But before this, we wouldn't have predicted this, right? I mean, at least not anything specific. I mean, generically, you could always say that a presidential candidate could be targeted. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, they've got the bomb squad in here. We heard that he had some explosives in his car. Possibly there was more. And let's see what else we've got. Trying to get all the updates here. Let's see. The photographs of Mr. Trump rising back up after the shooting were indelible. His face bloodied, one hand high in defiance, the other clutching a red Make America Great Again hat. Oh, I did not even notice that he was grabbing the hat. I don't see it there. Um, the American flag flying in the background. Here's a shot where I can't see the flag right here. Maybe that's cropped a little bit, but and he mouthed the fight, 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 which again, I don't know. We heard him ask for his shoes. I don't know why we couldn't hear him say fight, 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 but not a huge deal. He didn't have time to prepare for that. He just had to do that on the spot. Trump is no normal man. Yeah, he's been subjected to way more than I can imagine. I mean, more than anybody. I know if you hate him, you're going to think most of that is legitimate, but your question is how the Secret Service didn't see the shooter on the roof and secure it. Yeah, I think that's a fair question. Seems like people are wondering that. RFK Jr. needs to be granted social or Secret Service protection. Yeah, and it sounds like there was a bill in the works here to get that going. We covered that a little bit ago. They were going to bolster it for Trump, Biden, and RFK. We read that a little bit earlier. Here it is. Richie Torres and Mike Lawler, they've announced plans to introduce a bill to enhance Secret Service protection for Biden, Trump, and RFK. So there you go. Shooter apparently had a Discord account, but unclear what he used it for. All right. Trickling in little tidbits here and there. So I'm kind of just hanging out here on NY Times and ABC News. But I'm sure the networks have coverage going on. I'm sure everybody's got to make a statement on this. I mean, just as we thought the debate was huge, and it was. It was a big deal. We don't know what's going to happen with Biden still, but this is like way more than the debate. And again, I've said it before, but it feels like that Trump conviction was like 10 years ago at this point. But that was less than 2 months ago. And it feels like the debate was like 6 months ago, but that was just a few weeks ago. Supposedly, people had pointed out the shooter on the roof prior to the shooting. Yeah, I mentioned that. I saw a video of that. There was a rally goer saying that he pointed out a shooter or somebody on the roof, and they didn't jump on it. They kind of slow walked it. If that's true, obviously that's extremely concerning. I'm sure there's just going to be so much investigating. There's going to be committees. It's just going to go on and on and on. So that's why I always say, let the dust settle. I think you should wait probably at least a few days here to get the initial stuff settled. I know there's going to be a lot of questions out there. There's a lot of emotion flying around. This is something to be passionate about. People are probably scared. Few people might be excited, but a lot of people are going to be confused and saddened. Minnesota down to 56 Biden, 44 Trump, according to Polymarket. Nebraska's first. You might mean the second, right? Because the second is the competitive district. 57 for Trump. Interesting. So this is jolted the markets, certainly in Trump's favor by a medium amount. But you got to remember back in 2020, some people said, well, Trump's going to win by a landslide because he was underestimated in 16. He's the incumbent in 20. All the polls are going to be off by just as much. He's going to win all the blue wall states. And it didn't happen. But yeah, the markets they're moving. Let's see. Incident where a guy with guns pretending to be a U.S. Marshal tried to get into RFK Jr. rally. I can't say I exactly remember that off the top of my head. I'm sure that if it happened, that it happened, but I don't want to say I get it when I don't get it. We've got Biden. He's gonna deliver some remarks here in about 25 minutes. So maybe we can pull that up here. No immediate evidence that gunman had help. Investigators are scrambling to determine if the man who attempted to assassinate Trump acted alone, what motivated him to undertake political violence, and how he came to possess a semi-automatic rifle and several explosive devices. Wow, I'm sure we want to know. The effort was proceeding at a breakneck pace. They're in uncharted territory and would not rule out any potential scenario. As of Sunday morning, they found no evidence that he was part of a larger plot. But law enforcement officials cautioned that the investigation was extremely fluid, and they had yet to extract and analyze information from Mr. Crook's electronic devices for potential connections to other people. Oh yeah, they're going to track down everybody that's ever met this guy. I was saying that they're going to go back to grade school. They're going to pull up his old yearbooks. They're going to see what he did in the Boy Scouts, if he was in there. And they're going to maybe try to find a manifesto. They're going to bring in the neighbor. They're going to bring in... It's never going to end, really. Do you see Dustin? Nice to see you here. Do you see a rally around the flag effect for Trump? At least a little bit, and at least temporarily. But given polarization, and given how, again, a lot of people don't like Trump, it's hard to imagine it being significant. But again, this is purely uncharted stuff. It's hard to not think that Trump's favorables or polling or any rallying around him it's got to go up a little bit. Now, is it going to go up a lot, and is it going to stay up? That I would be much more hesitant about. It will be hard for his opponents and even never Trump Republicans to publicly speak harshly about him. That's true. It's true. The Democrats are going to have to re-strategize. If they're going to want to take him down, they have to do it in some way that is going to be so damaging to him, but not to where they're going to look like they're being harsh or referencing this attack at all. And on top of that, they're going to have to, Biden's going to have to put out some executive orders to get people to actually rally around him instead of just being against Trump, because that was kind of his main thing, is that he's not Trump. That was a big factor. And that's not going to work so well. So it's an uphill climb, I think, for Biden, if it's even him as the nominee. However, again, it's July, it's not October. And we have no clue what the fallout's going to be from this. So let's give it a few days to develop. Suspect described as lonely, quiet. That seems to be kind of a stereotype usually when it comes to a shooter. He was somebody who came across as lonely a lot. Here we go. Says Jamison Myers, who said he attended both elementary and high school with. I said they're going back to grade school. There's no question about it. Myers described him as more socially reserved and someone who didn't have a ton of friends. But he said he never heard Crooks discuss politics or specifically Donald Trump. I was friends with him. He never acted like, by any means, a political revolutionary. Was a very nice, even sweet guy from what I knew. He was a loner. He would sit alone at lunch. And also here described by a classmate as smart and kind. Let's see, what have we got here? That working class guy who is okay or likes Trump would rather just go home and have a beer instead of standing in line to vote after work. He's going to stand in line this time. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be extra motivation. I mean, this is real now. If you thought that they would do anything to stop Trump or somebody would, or just the fact that there was opposition to Trump, unique opposition, that's going to make you completely convinced. I mean, a bullet to the ear. I think you'll stand in line. I understand what you're saying. I think Pennsylvania Senate seat tightens from this. Uh, that's an interesting race because I've always thought Casey has a kind of clear advantage, not overwhelming, but he has the advantage. This is Bob Casey. And, Fetterman, even though Oz I thought was weak, Fetterman, who had the stroke, and he wiped out in that debate, he took down Oz by a few points. But I would think it would tighten a little bit. But how close is it? I'm not really bullish on McCormick having a huge chance, but you never know. Yeah, McCormick was at the rally. Somebody, maybe you mentioned that earlier. That is interesting. I haven't heard anything out of McCormick. I haven't even heard him mentioned, and everything I've read didn't see his name mentioned one time. So we'll see what happens with that. Take a slight break here. We'll play this while that's happening.
Look what happened. Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody. Sir, we gotta move to the bus. Move to the bus.
Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. My shoes.
Watch out.
Wait.
All right, I'm sure we're going to see that another 1,000 times here over the next few weeks. But that is.
If you want to really see something that said.
But yeah, that's. I'm waiting to see the compilation of different angles. I'm sure we're going to get different angles and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be crazy. Pennsylvania's a close primary. Well, I mean, it already happened. They had an early primary, and I can't remember which states are open or semi-open and closed. Let's see, $2 here from me. Suspect was probably depressed and didn't care. Well, thanks for the little bit of support there, the extra support. I always appreciate every little bit we can get here on the channel, so I want to take a note of that. So that's good stuff, and I agree. And oh, okay, we've got it became a member. That's fantastic. I encourage other people to try to join, become a member. There's not a lot of perks to becoming a member, but you'll get your name out there for a little while as a token of acknowledgement. And there's a second level for the membership that you can get the videos up to 2 hours early. That's something I tweaked recently. But if you just like the channel, every little bit of support is always appreciated. We're trying to keep expanding the channel. It's been slow. It's not the biggest channel, but we've got a nice community of people here try to do these streams, so I appreciate that. But I agree that the suspect probably depressed, mentally ill, mentally unstable. There's all kinds of assumptions that could be made. And yet, I mean, I put out a video already a few hours ago on this, so I encourage people to watch that. And it seems like, from what I've heard, is people say he's a registered Republican. That is the shooter, and he donated $15 to Act Blue. And I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I mean, he did what he did. I think who he donated to or which party he's registered with has little impact on how I view it. But yeah, also actually just released a video 15 minutes ago for today. That was the regularly scheduled video. If you're into trends, that video just hot off the presses about Montana. If you want to know a little bit about the trends or the political history for Montana, that video just dropped. That's going to be in your feed if you have subscribed and if you have your notifications on. Take a look at that video. So there's 2 videos today, and we've got a live stream. It'd be nice to take off a couple of days without anything, but I try to keep it rolling here. A lot of content out there. We're over 1,000 videos with the streams. Can't believe it, 1,000. The subscribers were up to, oh, we're over 3,200. It'd be nice to get to 4K, 5K, and then 10,000 would be nice. But we do have, apparently we've got Biden making a speech in about 12 minutes. I will probably try to cover that speech. And then after that, I probably going to have to wind it down. We've already been going for over 2 hours. And this was totally spontaneous. The next stream, though, could be for the Arizona primary that I think is at the end of the month. I can't guarantee it, but we're going to try. The fact that we are even discussing Minnesota as a toss-up is very bad for Dems. I agree with you, but the only thing I would say is back in 16, 8 years ago, the map looked so good for Hillary. It's so bad for Trump. They were talking about Kansas maybe being in play. It went in the other direction back then. And I'm just putting that out there for context, just for devil's advocate, just to give you a full picture that there was a time where it did go in the other direction. And who knows what's really going to happen. But I would agree that at this point in time, it does look like it's looking good for Trump, I guess. There's really no other way to put it. And of course, in 16, he got really close in Minnesota, 1.5 points. And then after that, of course, last time it went up a lot to about some kind of 7-point margin for Biden in Minnesota. Now, that was with less third-party vote. That's another big X factor. Minnesota, yep, Democrat stronghold. It sure is. It's been a while since back in the Nixon days, 72, voting for Nixon. But they've had Republican governors, senators. It's not impossible for a Republican to win statewide there, but it is a blue state. It may be curiously a blue state. The demographics and all that it maybe are a little more surprising that it's as blue as it is, certainly over all these decades. But there's unique states out there. Okay, do we got anything new here? Not really. So we're waiting on this 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We've got Biden to deliver remarks. That's a huge news newsworthy thing to take a look at because we got to see what Biden has to say, but how does Biden present himself? I mean, this guy has all the cameras on him, seeing if he's actually capable of running this campaign. But yeah, again, it's small group of people on here, not that many. I didn't expect a big crowd for a spontaneous stream with no primary. This is just, I thought it might have been historically significant that I said, I got to get on here. I got to fire up a stream. But yeah, this is wild stuff. Again, yeah, I do want to know if this suspect was on this roof here. Did he parked here? And I'm assuming he parked here or near here. I want to know what this building is and was it open? Did somebody let him in? Who else was in the building? How did he get up there? What is this? I haven't heard anything about this yet, but I want to know what this is. And as I've said, sometimes it takes a mistake or a tragedy in order to make some connections or make some corrections, excuse me. And now if they're going to tighten up the security, then I guess that's something good to get out of this. But Trump had to take one in the ear, and somebody else had to lose their life, and two other people were seriously injured as well. And yeah, what's with these explosives? Like, what was this guy gonna do? Was he planning on just shooting up everybody and then rigging up some explosives? Is there gonna be a manifesto? How is that gonna go? And then if there is, will we get to see it? Will it be suppressed? There's gonna be some finger pointing, I'm sure. We're already hearing about the Secret Service and how this guy had a clear line of fire from this roof to the stage. Uh, do we know if Trump went deaf in his ear? I haven't heard that. I've heard he's fine. I'm guessing if he went deaf, we would have heard about it. But my assumption was if you get hit in the ear, there's going to be some ringing temporarily. That's just me talking, but that's my assumption. But beyond that, I have not heard anything. But again, it's very, very recent stuff. So I guess Biden should be coming out in maybe about 5, 6 minutes. We'll see what he has to say. Is he going to take questions? Is he going to talk for more than a few minutes? We should be finding out pretty soon here. Uh, Tinnitus, or tinnitus, if you prefer to pronounce it that way. You have it from a gunshot 5 years ago. Oh, that's rough. That sounds almost similar to what happened here with Trump. Do you mean just it was fired too close to your ear? I mean, hopefully that you weren't hit or anything. It was just fired too close. Percussion would probably be loud enough at that close proximity to cause ringing. Yeah, I would expect some ringing for sure. Let's see, can we get anything live here?
Assassination attempt on the former president, Donald Trump, last night was absolutely unacceptable and tragic. Lori and I are grateful that the former president is safe and, according to him and his team, is fine.
You weren't hit, but that's
It's
good
also
to hear.
important to
That's
note
great.
that last night, 3 of our fellow Pennsylvanians were shot, 1 fatally and 2 in critical condition. I've just spent time speaking to the families, and I want to offer my prayers and the prayers of all 13 million Pennsylvanians for the 2 individuals who are being treated at this time. We lost a fellow Pennsylvanian last night, Corey Comparator. I just spoke to Corey's wife and Corey's 2 daughters. Corey was a girl dad.
They used them to
Corey
start
was a firefighter.
track
Corey
races.
went to
I
church
think that's
every
what it said.
Sunday. Corey loved his community.
So it was a one-off
Most
incident,
especially,
or you
Corey
just
loved
that
his
you were
family.
around it frequently?
Corey was an avid supporter of the former president and was so excited
So here's Shapiro,
to be there last night with him. in the
future
community.
President Shapiro, future VP
I
Shapiro.
asked Corey's wife.
Let's see, photos. Here we go. These are the ones we took a look at already. Yeah, look at this one. Is that actually the bullet? That's crazy. Is that the one that hit his ear? Or is that going past? That's a wild shot right there. And you always have to be worried about potential fake images. And then there's the grab on the ear. So look at this kid in the background. He's got the Trump getup on. He's got the wig, the suit, the hat, the hair. That's the whole thing right there. And again, yeah, this image, this is pretty powerful here. Face down with the blood streaming. Frequently, okay. Ears processed it differently that time. Everything went deaf for a few seconds. I got permanent ringing after. Yeah, I mean, I have that myself actually to, I don't know to what extent, but I don't want to go really into it, but I do have a form of that as well. And I understand, I do tune it out. It's easy to not notice it after so many years. So look at these shots. These are the iconic shots people are talking about. The fist, the blood. The flag. And another fist on his way out. There it is. So I think we're waiting on Biden to start his press conference or his speech or whatever it is. To see if I can maybe pull that up if it's not working on abc.com. Let's see what we've got here.
Referring to the Republican
Um, I don't think Biden's come out yet. I don't know how long it's going to be or what he's doing. But this should be the stream.
Temperature was running high across the country. You saw a lot of irresponsible statements, everything from blaming it on terrible lapses within the Secret Service, and no one knows what really happened yet. And
All right, we'll see if Biden breaks in here. We'll wait for a bit. But I'm going to have to wind the stream down here soon. Maybe the top of the hour. But so far we've had about a 2.5 hour spontaneous stream. Tried to answer questions, see how everybody's feeling after this crazy story and these events. Here we go. What have we got? We got the gun traced to shooting suspect's father was legally purchased. Was legally purchased by the suspect's father. An urgent trace conducted by the ATF found. I think we heard that already. The AR-15 style assault rifle was purchased by the suspect's father in 2013. Okay, the shooter had no military affiliation. There were what appeared to be explosives. Appeared to be? Well, were they or weren't they? One source said they looked like grenades, but the other sources said they were waiting for forensic results about whether the items are actually explosives. Wow, that's a plot twist. We were hearing they were explosive. Now we're hearing they might not be explosives. I guess we want to ultimately hear they were not, but let's see. Here's another update we've got. If this is actually going to update, maybe it's not. Well, I guess Biden did not start at that scheduled conference or scheduled time for that conference or whatever it was. But we do have a special here tonight on ABC, minute by minute. So that could be something to take a look at. Oh, it kind of quieted up here as well in the chat. I'm assuming people have got other things to do on a Sunday morning / Sunday afternoon. And Or maybe everybody's just checking out the video that I put up about Montana. That's going to be a good one. Take a look at that video. Take a look at the video I put up 4.5 hours ago about the shooting. And the video yesterday, the spinner battle, the finale for the vice presidents. It's a little cheesy, it's a little goofy, but if you're into that kind of thing, the finale is up. All right, so I guess we're waiting on Biden. That could be at any point. It could be in a while. But anybody else have any questions or comments? I mean, you've got the entire chat to yourself. If you're looking for a real-time one-on-one interaction, I'm able to answer your questions or comments. As we're waiting for the next update, we're waiting for Biden to come out, we're waiting for anything. Here we go. We've got Biden rescheduling Monday trip to Texas. He was scheduled to give the keynote address at a commemoration for, Civil Rights Act. This is Biden's first rescheduled event in the wake of the assassination attempt. It also follows Vice President Harris postponing her Tuesday campaign stop in Florida. Okay. Interesting. Not sure why it completely fizzled out here. It's got very quiet here for about 10 minutes. Here we go. We've got something here. We've got Jared Golden from Maine, one of the most vulnerable Democrats or incumbents in Congress, issued a warning to both political parties. We could stop by dropping hyperbolic threats about the stakes of this election. It should not be misleadingly portrayed as a struggle between democracy or authoritarianism, or a battle between fascists or socialists bent on destroying America. These are dangerous lies. Yeah, there's a lot of hyperbole out there. The aides who were with Trump at the hospital after he was shot were identified by a person with knowledge of the situation. Okay. Well, hope everybody's trying to have a pretty good day otherwise, if you can separate this out. But yeah, again, if you're looking for the electoral fallout, we've got the markets here. Has anything changed? Well, hey, we've got JD Vance as the VP pick. He's up to 50 cents. That's pretty significant. So for whatever reason here, Vance has had some movement. Look at that. He goes from about 43, 45 up to 52. The Burgum rage kind of sank here a little bit. For a while, it was just Burgum mania all over the place. Burgum got up into the 40s. And we've got Rubio. We've got Tulsi Gabbard and Glenn Youngkin, and Ben Carson also at 6. Tim Scott, he really fell off. He was my pick for a long time, who I thought would make he would be the pick, but looks like Scott just collapsed here over the past 1 or 2 months. And Polymarket has Trump at 71. I haven't gotten on there yet, but yeah, we've got, here it is here for, sorry, this is, the winner here for the election is going to be Trump at 66. It doesn't totally match up with Polymarket. Polymarket usually seems to be a little bit more favorable for the Republicans. And as far as just the party, Trump or Republicans at 66, that perfectly lines up with Trump at his 66, Democrats at 36, and they've gone up 6. Democrats have gone down about 7 here since yesterday. So this event has moved the needle in favor of Trump. And we did have a few polls drop here today from NBC and Fox, but these are just head-to-heads in the general. Nothing for the states, but then actually, how much do these really matter after this shooting? These polls are kind of pointless. How do you see this helping Trump in the election? How impactful would Elon Musk's endorsement be for Trump? As far as the shooting helping Trump, he's going to get sympathy, at least a little bit, and in the near future. Now, is he going to have a lot of sympathy in 3 months? No idea, because this is completely uncharted. But I think he's going to go up a little bit. His favorabilities, and maybe some light Biden supporters, maybe this is over the top for them, and they might go, hey, maybe I should not go for Biden. I mean, the light supporters. There's going to be hardcore Biden supporters. They're never going to budge. Some of them might sit out now. Some independents might be a little bit more fired up and say, hey, you know what? I got to go support this guy. He took a bullet. And of course, Trump's own base, that enthusiasm it's just, if you can imagine it going up higher, that's what I think is going to happen. But there's polarization. There's more than 3 months to go. There's no guarantee that Trump is just going to surge and stay all the way up there for the next 3.5 months. And the Elon Musk endorsement, how impactful is that going to be? Generally, I don't think endorsements have much weight. I don't think there's many people who are going, well, I was on the fence, but now Elon Musk has endorsed Trump, so I'm actually going to go for Trump. Or maybe away from Trump and go Biden. I don't think that's going to do much. I think people already thought Musk was favorable for Trump. He might have endorsed anyway. I heard he made a donation. So I think there could be a financial boon. But a specific endorsement, I don't think that's really going to be much of a factor. Scott does seem like to be the most electorally advantageous to me. I thought that for a while, but hey, looks like maybe not so much. And you're from South Carolina. Oh, interesting. So it would be cool. Yeah. A lot of South Carolina action in this election. Haley, McMaster, Graham, Scott, and Nancy Mace. So I don't know if Biden's actually coming out. I was waiting for that. So might wind the stream down in a bit. But hopefully Hopefully, I've answered the questions that have been asked, at least to some extent. But I do think this is uncharted. I mean, you hear back when Reagan had his assassination attempt, his popularity shot up. I mean, now this is a different era, but it's hard to not think Trump is going to get a little bit of a bump, sympathy, and I mean, he should. I mean, you don't have to vote for him. If you were against him, I don't see why you would change your vote. But the people on the margins, the low propensity voters, light independents, they might kind of maybe be swayed more toward Trump for the sympathy factor. But at least emotionally, he's going to get some sympathy. I mean, even if you hate this guy, you could say maybe he came out of this looking pretty strong, and it's a shame, and you feel terrible for him, even if you don't vote for him. That's a fair position. So I don't know why they teased us here with this Biden delivering remarks at 1:30 Eastern. Unless that is happening and I'm unaware of it, I don't see it. We've got Josh Shapiro highlighted this segment from his news conference. This is a moment where all leaders have a responsibility to speak and act with moral clarity, he added. Or he said, adding that leaders should rise above the hateful rhetoric that exists. He added his prayers for those injured, including Trump and the family of Corey Comparatori, the spectator who was killed. We need to make sure that Corey's memory is forever a blessing. Whew, just 24 hours ago, this guy was here. He was he was alive. He was around. He had no idea it was all going to end. But if there's any silver lining, it sounded like it was some kind of an instantaneous headshot. Maybe never saw it coming, didn't have to have any kind of suffering. So, the markets here in Wisconsin, Trump is up at 62. In Georgia, he's up to 74. So, sometimes the markets overreact. They get spooked, something happens, they move in one direction, and then things level off in the next few hours or the next few days. It happens in the stock market, it happens in any kind of market, really. So that could happen, but we already see here that in Wisconsin, Biden had the lead here for a long time, and it just flipped after the debate performance. And then here after this shooting, it just spiked even further. He's still not live. Yeah, I mean, I can't sit on here forever. I thought it was going to happen, but it could be another hour. It might not even happen. But I appreciate you sticking it out here, hanging out on the channel, as it's not the most packed stream I've had. So it's dedication to be on a stream with less than 10 people here. But we'll do 10 more minutes. We'll see if Biden comes out or if anything happens. And then that'll be 3 hours. Seems like a good amount for a stream. And yeah, that RNC, the convention, it's coming up tomorrow. Who knows how that's gonna go? It's a really fascinating time in politics. I don't think anybody even wants an October surprise at this point. Well, maybe some people, yeah, who want Biden to win, I'm sure they're going to want something to get their candidate back into this. But I think we're all kind of worn out from just the action here. So we're kind of just sitting here. It's going to be one of these significant days, you know, they're going to, you're going to be asked where you were when this happened. 7/13, that might be another one of these dates that just people bring up, like 9/11 or whatever. But very notable day. Historic day. I guess it's a bad day. I don't know where it ranks in terms of like US history. There's been assassinations of presidents. Where does this rank? It's up there, but there's more notable things that have happened. But as far as recent history, it's pretty up there. So I think we pretty much covered everything. We're just kind of waiting on Biden. Again, there we got the shot, a close up of the ear there, and I don't know how clean of a hit it was, how bad it was, but I mean the blood with the streaks, the optics of that, the optics of Trump emerging from that hit with the fist and saying fight, and he comes out of that. Nobody's going to say that looked weak. Suspect, lonely and quiet. Here's an update. We've got Nikki Haley. Oh no, we've got let's do this one here. Two people who were wounded at the Trump rally were still being treated Sunday at the Allegheny General Hospital in Pittsburgh. They were taken there by helicopter and remain in critical condition. So that's something to keep in mind, that they might not make it. And even if they make it, they might have irreparable damage. And we've got Nikki Haley, Donald Trump's last standing challenger in the Republican presidential primary, is now expected to speak at the GOP convention this week. That's interesting. Because of this shooting, now she's going to speak, but she wasn't going to be speaking before this. Haley was not initially part of the programming, but has been included as Republicans seek to project unity in the aftermath of the assassination attempt. Wow, if you're the Republicans, that's a good move. I don't think that's going to, the base that doesn't like Haley, I don't think they're going to care if she makes a speech at the convention after the assassination attempt. And that might maybe be an olive branch to some independents. I don't see that being any kind of a downside after the event that just happened here. And now the focus and the tenor and the tone of this convention can just be all about unity. And that's going to be a winning formula. And if the Democrats come out and try to just say, preach unity, well, it might ring a little bit hollow because this event happened to Trump and Biden is down. He's got to put something together here. He's got to bolster his brand, and somehow Trump has to weaken his. But Trump is pretty much riding high here, and if he just talks unity, that's not going to rock the boat at all. At least in the abstract. Convention lasts until the 18th. Do you know the day the candidates typically announce VPs during convention? That I don't know. I Trump could not do it. From what I hear, he can wait until after that. And it could be sudden. It could happen out of nowhere, but he might reschedule everything now. And I thought in the past, it was usually known prior. It wasn't just spraying right then and there. But I don't know if that changes who he's going to pick for his running mate. According to the markets, Vance has gone up. Soon, Biden to speak. Okay. So we'll try to wait a few more minutes here to see if we got anything. Here we go. Josh Shapiro has ordered flags to fly at half staff to recognize the tragedy that occurred at a rally for former President Trump in Butler County last evening, and in honor of Corey Comparatore. Comparatore. That's not the easiest last name, but I hope I've got it right. Butler County husband and father who was killed while attending the event. I've yet to see a picture of him. I'm assuming that should be coming out so we can put a face with the story here. So who knows how long this is going to take. This could go on for another 20, 30, 40 minutes. We're at a 3-hour stream in just about a minute. Try to keep it energetic and informative. And try to answer all the questions and comments that I could. And so we've got Sir Flame-A-Lot. Do you have a popular vote estimate for this election? Not specifically. I think it depends, of course, on the third parties, Kennedy especially. That's unknown. If we're talking with Kennedy, then of course nobody's going to get to 50%. Now, if it was just Biden and Trump, it's tough to think that Trump is actually going to win the popular vote, although his chances of that happening do keep going up. So I can't answer it now. Before this, I would say Biden's still probably going to win it, but it would maybe be around maybe only a 1-point advantage in the end. But that's just a preliminary guess, just to have something out there. We're going to see at the end. It's going to be the easier time to make some kind of a more concrete prediction. I'm assuming Kennedy, again, he might pull in 15%, but in the end, he might only pull in 6. But either way, with Kennedy, that should keep everybody under 50%. And I would think Biden is still favored to win the popular vote even after this. But if the polls don't change too much, or if Trump goes up and we start getting into September, it's after Labor Day, the chance of Trump actually winning the popular vote, they're going to actually just keep going up and up, and to the point where it might be more likely that he does win the popular vote. Hopefully that answers enough. But usually, yeah, I mean, Biden should have to win. Theoretically, a lot of people say, yeah, Biden's going to have to win the popular vote by at least, definitely 3 points, but probably 4, 5 if he's going to win in the Electoral College. And of course, in the popular vote now, in the polling, Biden is trailing by 2, 3 points. And of course, if you go back to 4 years ago, Biden was dominating in the popular vote polling. So this looks nothing like it did 4 years ago. So we're waiting on Biden to get out here. Be nice if he did it pretty soon so we could hear what he has to say and then get on with our day here. You have the breaking point for Biden for popular vote at 3.4. So you're saying if Biden is under 3.4, he's lost in the Electoral College. That's what I'm think you're going for. And yeah, that's not unreasonable. Same as 2020, yeah. And yeah, he's not even close to that. Trump is up by almost 3.4. This is an absolutely stunning election, and it's July. And some people are ready to call this thing back in December or January, and I said, well, we've got like 8, 9 months to go. There's no way you can call this thing yet. You might be right in the end, but you're not going to be able to predict all the changes and the ebb and the flow as we go through all these months. Nobody was going to predict this. At some point last year, I put out a poll on the community tab asking how likely it is that Trump would even be indicted. And I'm pretty sure that was unlikely. So he not only got indicted, it happened multiple times, and he got convicted. So nobody was going to be able to predict what happened. We're down to only 4 viewers. Wow, that is disappointing. I don't know why it went down way more than it was. The first hour and a half. But we're waiting on Biden. We could probably might have to call it here and cut the stream. But I did put in a 3-hour stream here. So for those that are at all here, hopefully you had a good time. Oh, there we go.
To the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired. And he lost his life. God love him. We're also planning for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service.
So Biden doesn't look
Security Advisor,
horrible in this.
National Security Advisor.
Maybe that's a win for
And we're going
Biden.
to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to President Trump yesterday,
President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris.
All right, that was what, a
members of
couple
his,
minutes?
National Security Team, the Attorney General right there leaving the.
All right, yeah. I mean, Biden looked better there than he had in the Stephanopoulos debate and the Stephanopoulos interview and and during the debate. But, not sharp as attack. That's out. But I assume that was all on the teleprompters, and he read it accordingly. So he's getting a little bit more exposure on his abilities there, but he didn't have anything overwhelming to say. Of course, they're going to conduct the investigation, look into it, yada yada yada. They're going to say more later on, but yeah, unity, that's always going to be what you're going to say. I mean, what else can you really say? So that's that, and the stream is probably widening it down here. Biden and the yeah, that's what I mentioned. But at least he didn't totally, wipe out, slur his way through it. I mean, he read that with some sort of vigor, and that was fine. It was 2 minutes off a prompter, 3 minutes, I don't know. But who cares? It's not about that. This is about this whole thing with Trump. It's going to be everywhere. Do you think Trump will use this event as part of his rhetoric for the election? Yeah, I mean, there's no way you're gonna. He's not. I mean, Trump tries to capitalize on anything, and if he's gonna get sympathy out of this, and if it's notable, which it definitely is, he's gonna mention it and use it in the rhetoric somehow to some extent. I mean, could he go over the top or use it inappropriately? Yeah, probably. But there's going to be a lot of slack on what Trump is allowed to bring up in terms of this. I mean, if Trump, he could do it poorly. If he could just, he already hasn't, though. He's basically called for unity. If he starts specifically using that to attack people directly and connecting them, yeah, that would be over the top. But just in general, he can be a victim. I mean, a lot of people love to be a victim because you get extra attention, extra focus, extra exposure. And in this case, Trump actually is a victim. He's got the blood to prove it off the ear hit. Now, if, like with anything, if you go too far, you can go too far and it'll wear out. But yeah, he's good. He knows this is probably going to be advantageous to his campaign. So I would expect him to use it to some extent, but he's still got the Biden debate. That's plenty of ammo for him to use for this campaign as well. Let's see. Here we go. No known motive, Biden says. Okay, short but good conversation. Okay, no motive known. I mean, this just happened. I mean, let's see what happens. Trump versus bullet, raised fist, Biden versus stairs tripped. Yeah, I mean, like I said in my video that I had out about 4 or 5 hours ago, there's probably gonna be tons of memes and images with Trump looking heroic and just invincible or whatever, heroic, unbeatable. And yeah, you can compare Trump at his most heroic to Biden at a low point where he falls off the bike or where he trips on the stairs. I mean, that's all going to be there. But I mean, that bullet hit, that's got to be scary. People are saying this guarantees Trump a victory. I don't agree, and with this, I want to know what your stance is. Well, if you've followed my channel, you'll know that I rarely say there's guarantees, very rarely, and this is not going to be one of them. I can't say this would guarantee Trump winning. I would say that it would be, I can see saying that if the election were right now, it's hard to, there's no way I can bet against Trump right now. But in 3.5 months, is it guaranteed Trump will win? No, it's not. I don't think it is. I think it's more likely than not, but not enough to where it's a guarantee. I'm always somebody who has a range of expectations, and I like to let things develop and see what changes. Because how do we know what's going to happen tomorrow or in a week? Maybe something greatly benefits Biden in 2 weeks, or something comes out about Trump and he takes a hit. No pun intended there. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that Trump is not favored. I mean, that seems like a very uncontroversial position, that Trump is favored right now, probably very likely right now. And in 3.5 months, if there was money on the line, I would have to say Trump is going to win, but there's no guarantee. So I think we're in agreement that it's not a guarantee. But of course, people that are fans of Trump, they're going to say it's a guarantee. It's like when Trump has a bad day or a bad week or a bad news cycle. Then the other side comes out and says that Trump is done. I mean, you get that kind of stuff. But with 3, 4, 5 months to go, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantees if this was September. But yeah, if this was early November, or well, I guess actually that might not be the right time because early voting has already begun and people might have cast their ballots if it happens too close to the election. But if this happened in early or mid October and nothing else changed, then it would seem like, yeah, Trump would be very likely. I still can't say guarantee. I wouldn't say guarantee unless every swing state, Biden is down by like 10 points. And, you know, we've got Washington going toward Trump potentially, Connecticut, you know, until we get states like that, I would not say it's a guarantee. Of course, right under a guarantee, though, it's very likely. There's already memes. Minecraft, yeah. I'm sure there's you're gonna see some real gems coming out soon. Do you think the media reaction to this will affect how people view this event? Yeah, I mean, the media, I always say, the media can craft almost any narrative they'd like. I mean, there's so much power in gigantic corporate media. And for what I've seen, it looks serious and sympathetic to Trump. And it's hard not to be if he got hit in the ear and he was just at a rally. It's all covered as an assassination attempt. That's going to, at least optically, plus with the pictures after, it's going to be favorable for Trump, at least in the short term. Some liberals are calling it staged. Really, I haven't seen that, but with every event, people want to just always have a different way to view it. They always want to think there's somebody else or someone else behind it and that their side is never wrong and that there's always a different ulterior motive behind the scenes. There's all that kind of stuff. I mean, on occasion, there is going to be more to it that should be fleshed out. Who knows? But staged is, it's hard to think something is staged when you actually took a hit in the ear. I mean, he's got the blood to prove it. He actually took the hit. I mean, that's like an inch away from death. I don't know how you fake that unless they're saying the blood is fake, the hit is fake. And is this is what this is kind of what I covered in my video I put out about 5 hours ago. It just seems like whatever happens, there's always some rationalization as to why their side or the other side is right or wrong. And it just seems like if you swap the roles, everybody's, you know, the extremes are going to flip their analysis. So that's what we get in politics. You watched the rally live, so you saw it happening. Fascinating. Probably pretty freaky stuff. Let's see, anything with the markets changing here? Now Biden's up to 68 cents. So what, after that little 2 or 3 minute thing, Biden has gone up. That, ironically, this thing for Trump might have helped Biden. Yeah, you were worried until you saw the fist. Yeah, understandable. I mean, you makes perfect sense. So there's going to be stuff coming out all day, every 10 minutes, every hour. There's going to be a couple little snippets, little tidbits out there about the shooter or about his motives or about some acquaintance. Like I said, they're going to go back to the first grade. They're going to go back to preschool. Every time this guy ever talked to anybody, they're going to get him in front of a camera. They're going to track him down. They're going to find everything he's ever done or said, pretty much. It's going to be extreme scrutiny over the shooter's life. Well, but we've been on here for about 3 hours, 20 minutes. And at this point, I think I can say this was a semi-successful stream. We've got Biden urged people to not jump to assumptions, let the FBI do its job. He insisted Trump already had protection, asked the Secret Service to review security measures, asked for an independent review, presumably over how the shooter got so close. Ending his brief remarks, Biden said he would deliver a full address to the nation, which the White House says will be 8 p.m. Eastern. Trump's VP will be in. That's for sure. It's getting late in the campaign season. We don't know who it's going to be. We've got the markets here, and we've got J.D. Vance, who is the front runner, although he's now down to 46. That's what we're looking at. So I think we'll say that it was a great stream, and it was a success, and I'm glad people showed up. Crazy day, crazy times. It's going to keep being crazy for the foreseeable future as we see the fallout from this. But thanks to everybody that showed up for this 3.5 hour nearly stream. Spontaneous. Hope everybody likes, shares, and subscribes. I appreciate the couple of people that donated, joined. It's always appreciated. Trying to get the channel up, more exposure, expand. Check out the 2 videos. I put out 2 videos today in addition to the stream, so check those out. Got 1,000 videos. You can take a look at all those. Tons of content out there, and there should be another video every day. That's how it's been. So, again, thanks for everybody that showed up. Hope everybody can try to have a reasonable afternoon, evening, night. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Again, thanks for watching, and have a great night. We'll see you next time.